Welcome to episode 175
Yeah.
of Masters of the Forge. My name is Adam. This is Jason. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Adam. Hi, everyone.
This is
How we all doing?
This is Quinn.
Is he snoring?
No, it's just the fan in his room. And
Okay.
also Sunny. Say hi, Sunny. Bark, bark, bark. Okay. Gang's all here. I've had my dinner. Went on a hike today.
All right.
Got done. I just picked another tick off of Sunny, which is super fun.
Hey, man. Extra protein.
They're all so tiny. I think you're gonna have to sleep on your own tonight, Sonny. You can't sleep in our bed. You're gonna have to let those ticks bite you and die. I think that's what the pill does. Like they give them like this little chewy pill, and it's supposed to. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a tick repellent or a tick like murder. It turns their blood into tick murder. I think. Pretty sure.
So it changes probably the pH of the blood just a tiny bit. Okay. Kind of like orange juice.
I mean, how does tick medicine work? Commonly used tick repellent products contain a widely used group of insecticides called parathins. That doesn't make any sense. Parathins take aim at the nervous system of the insects. This doesn't even know what it's talking about. Ticks aren't insects; they're arachnids, I think.
But aren't the... Okay, I'm not gonna... I don't know. I just work here. I train noise
from
marines.
chrysanthemum flowers.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, okay. Depositing chemicals in the sebaceous glands, where the active ingredient is released and translocates through glands that lubricate a cat or dog's coat with oil. So it's okay. That makes way more sense. It puts the chemicals into their their sweat gland. Well, they don't really sweat, but yeah.
Well, it's their skin is what.
Yeah. So like the tick goes on there and it goes, "What? That's disgusting. I'm gonna die now."
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay. Well, I like that.
Okay.
So, Jason, what have you been up to in the hobby?
Oh, okay. So, not a whole hell of a lot, but I have done some stuff surprisingly.
Good.
I'm still working on bending the ammo belts on the Vorax battle automata.
Uh-huh.
I worked on it one night and did a lot of work with it, and then I just didn't feel like going back and doing it again because I hate doing that. We were supposed to record last night, but we weren't able to, and so I actually built, magnetized, and primed the Siren Dreadnought from from Forge World, the 30K.
Now, which one's that?
It's a Thousand Suns dread that's really ornate. It has like a power sword, claw, whatever on its hand. It's really, really beautiful model. It's going to be easy to paint just because some of those Forge World models, as long as you know how to wash, it brings out the detail.
Oh yeah, I like models like that.
Yeah, because I had one. What was it? The sorcerer, the Terminator Sorcerer from Forge World. That's for 1,000 Suns. Oh, it's the Praetor, and that one actually, I managed to paint that in one night, and I was like, I don't want to overpaint, but I mean. What happened was the washes started taking care of what needed to be taken care of, and that was kind of rad. So, but as I built it last night, I even bent the flowing robes in the front because that's a thing. I realized I just don't have any contemptor weapons. And I ended up ordering a bunch last night because I just didn't have them, and I still have 3 more dreads that are new in box that are contemptors. So, yeah, I need to go through and order those. Let's see. I picked up the Numinous Oculum terrain piece, which I think is a Sigma. Well, it's an AOS piece, but I think it might be a Sigmarite piece. It's kind of cool. It looks like it would run with the Thousand Suns theme. Um, but I haven't done a whole lot of hobby just because of work recording sessions, some work travel, and I've got a really large project that I'm supposed to work to get finished, and it should take another 3 to 5 weeks to get that thing finished. Hopefully, I'll get it done soon. Then I can be lazy and, well, I mean, not lazy, but at least I can get back to hobbying again.
Yeah.
Um, I did go on a work trip to Lexington, Kentucky. So every time I go on a work trip, I always try and hit hobby stores, like gaming stores and whatnot. And so this time I dropped by the Rusty Scabbard
Okay.
and Battleforge game shops. I'm trying to remember which one was which. Both of them had a lot of really great stuff that I would love to have picked up, but there's only so much room in my luggage.
Uh-huh.
So, but I picked up that Numinous Oculum terrain piece, and I picked up Fury of Magnus, which we'll talk about a little bit later, because I spent the entire day in the airport. I read the book most of it in a day. So
Yeah, you enjoyed that.
Loved that book. I do talk about it. I did put it in our lower down in the show notes. I did talk about it on Facebook. I went through and tagged Graham McNeil, told him that he, that I love him and all that stuff. So,
yeah, as you do.
Yeah, as you do, and yeah. We'll talk about it a bit more. What about you, man? You're hobbying.
I have a lot.
What'd you get together?
I
figured
quite a bit. But there's also a lot going on here that's not Warhammer related. So I went through and I did my photographs of my armies, or of my orc armies. I did end up splitting them into 4 separate vignettes.
Yeah.
Because there was no other way to do it. I couldn't actually fit them all on the same table. So that was tough to do, because I kind of messed up the angles on some of them, and that was really annoying. And I finally got them taken, and they look pretty good. And I also did some video. I haven't gotten it posted yet, but I also did some video. My computer does not have enough space to actually edit the videos. I need to send it to my buddy to piece them together. It's for real. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's a good thing, though.
Yeah. Well, I did them on the really high quality because I want people to be able to see what's going on.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I finally got the models all packed up yesterday, and I'm taking stock of what still needs foam.
Yeah.
A bunch of stuff does need foam, even though I just did a foam order. Like my current beast, the Beast Snaga stuff from the Beast Snaga box set, it can all go in the foam I have, and also all the Squig Hog Riders I picked up. But now I've got the boss on Squigosaur, and I have that wagon, the kill rig. So those need foam, and all the new orcs that I'm assembling need foam. So the new starter set, my buddy Pat gave me another set of the commandos, which and the 6 kilocans that Tucker gave me. So Tucker gave me Grats, technically speaking, so I'm sure you can appreciate that. And he said he has more. Well, joke's on him. He's getting a Black Templar starter set. He's got a lot of Sisters of Battleheads he needs to stick on to those. So what I've been doing, I like assembly, because assembly is nice to just set it up downstairs and watch a TV show or something with Wendy while I do it. So that's super fun. We've been doing that. I'm just kind of in the middle of the Squig Hog Riders. Boy, those new orc boys sure don't fit in the same old foam very well. They have really, some of them have really wide stances. They don't really fit very well. But I mean, I can cram them in there,
Oh,
like their little
yeah,
swords are stabbing the foam, but that's fine. But yeah, the old battle foam orc boy foam does not fit the bill. So you may want to look at your collection
yeah.
if you're doing those. But yeah,
Okay,
I've been building and
that's good
building
to
and
know.
building. My hobby bingo card still has a unit of 10 on it,
Uh-huh.
which could be any of these things that I have. But it also has 2 terrain squares that aren't filled in yet. That's it. I just have 3 squares to fill on my hobby bingo card, but 2 of them are terrain, which I'm not
I
sure what
thought,
to do about that.
but okay,
Now I do have the orc terrain
yeah,
from Kill Team, and I do still have all of that Zone Mortalis like scatter terrain and
yeah,
Necron scatter terrain. So maybe I'll do that
yeah,
before the end of the year and call it bingo. Cover all
yeah.
done.
Cool.
Uh, so our website was totally messed up. I may have mentioned in the last episode, like the company that was hosting us decided to be bought by someone else.
Oh, okay,
And anybody's stuff that was transferred that could be migrated was, and everybody else can just kick
okay.
rocks,
Pound sand.
pound
Okay,
sand. Yeah. So I pounded
cool.
sand, and I just was setting up hosting elsewhere. But it's kind of complicated because we have a content management system that's not
Hmm.
WordPress. So it's like it was kind of complicated to get the like I had to set up the file sharing repo and
Yeah,
like make sure it's all secret and
yeah,
because like the database password is like right in the files, so you can't that needs to be private.
yeah.
And yeah, and the database and everything is pretty complicated, and it was really annoying
Mm,
getting it all switched over. But it's switched over now. If you go to mastersoftheforge.com, you go to our website
cool.
and you can get all our content.
Thanks.
Um,
Thanks for putting that together, man. Getting that all
yeah,
fixed up.
it is fine. It is fine now. How are you? So next up, I still have a lot of building to do. I'm gonna keep on working on that. Just
Yeah.
kind of chillax and build. You know.
Oh yeah.
Have you gotten any
Oh yeah.
games in?
No,
No,
I
you're
have
good.
not gotten any games in just because of that big work project that
Right.
I
No, that's
mentioned
fair.
earlier.
That's fair. I've
Yeah.
been playing some Kill Team. Like I mentioned the 2
Yeah.
games I played with Pat last time. I played another 2 games
Mm,
with Pat this past weekend, and that
cool.
was super fun. We're enjoying the rule set. Again, I
Hmm.
really am not understanding any like the critical hits are fine. Like when you get a critical hit, it's usually just like +1 or +2 damage. It's not a big deal. Like most things have like 9 wounds.
Yeah.
Uh,
I know that the Thousand Suns have a. They're supposed to get an updated rule set,
oh, in the White
which
Dwarf, right?
yeah, which
Mm-hmm.
we saw a couple of leaks for it, which I guess we can talk about. I don't know.
Okay, I didn't see them.
I've how about this? It's been all over the Thousand Suns groups.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's how. Basically, it's just It's kind of reformulating how you choose a kill team based on, I think, well, not points exactly, but well, I haven't seen the rules in in my hands, so I only see what's online.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it's a way to go through and have, instead of just one sorcerer and 4 rubrics, like maybe one sorcerer and I think 5 rubrics going to multiple sorcerers. These are all
Okay.
aspiring sorcerers, so I mean that can be
Okay.
kind
So
of
probably
understandable.
probably like the Death Guard instead of taking like a unit of sorcerers,
Hmm.
a small unit of sorcerers and some Zangor. Instead you just take a small instead of a unit of rubrics and some Zangors, you take just oops all Thousand Suns instead, or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you can. It's interesting. I don't want to say too much without having to actually,
Yeah, I
without
think
actually having it here to read it.
putting it out into the world without really
Yeah.
a full picture is a bad idea. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's good that they're
Yeah.
continuing to support Kill Team, and especially through White Dwarf and stuff. That's really handy. I
Yeah.
like that.
And I, from playing the team, because I've played Thousand Suns more than anything else, I knew pretty quickly it's like, yeah, this needs to be updated.
Mm-hmm.
Like it had some real weaknesses that are very evident after you play about 2 games with them. So
right.
yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate with the Drakari and the Death Guard. We've played 4 games. Pat's won 2 of them. I've won 2 of them. It really doesn't.
Ooh, that's a good number.
Feels pretty balanced to me.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of getting used to, especially like the obscuring terrain. You really need to use that to your advantage, because otherwise you're just going to get shot in the face.
That's right.
Like being up on a vantage point doesn't stop obscuring terrain. Like it's intended to stop shooting across the board, So keep that in mind, everybody, when you're playing your games. Take a really hard look at those obscuring terrain rules and understand that these walls they might as well just be like infinitely high impenetrable walls of pure iron, because you can't see over them as long as you're a white circle away from it.
Yeah. That, and also terrain is a good thing to have. Lots of it.
You need to have a lot. You're not supposed to be able to, like, if you're shooting somebody from like 24 inches away, they've messed up. They put themselves in a terrible spot. That's anyways. Oh, also, like the narrative. I don't know about the match play rules, but the narrative play rules, you're supposed to like pick the mission first, and put down the objectives. Yeah, then you pick your team, and then you set up the battlefield. Like you set up the battlefield after, so that it accommodates the mission. That's super important, and you should do it in a way that makes everybody happy. Anyways,
I do like those narrative rules. I think they're really different. Such an overused word, but they're very. I don't even know how to explain it. They work well for narrative.
They do.
They work for telling a story.
They do. I agree. After 4 games, I just got 2 models with upgrades, and Pat's got an upgrade or 2 as well. So things are moving along pretty swimmingly for our, it's not too slow, but there's a lot of bookkeeping. You have to keep track of your kills. You have to keep track of who performs actions and stuff like that. But it is Kill Team. It's supposed to be a little more granular, so it's not that big a deal. I also had a match play game with Andrew, my Orcs versus his Sororitas. And so we're hopefully still going to go to the boys GT. So I'm trying to get some practice, but I'm really champing at the bit to get back to doing Crusade. And I think a lot of the other guys are too. I think Tucker's going to try to put together some simple guidelines for a league, or at least just getting some Crusade going in our in the store or in our area, which is good. I'm glad for that, because I do miss it. Like all during quarantine, we were playing Crusade at Dave's house, and that was super fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other people make of it, and I'm looking forward to smacking Zane upside the head when he decides to take all Vanguard veterans with storm shields. Like, stop it! Just stop it. That's not what this is for.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting my 1,000 Suns on the table for Crusade.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I kind of figured who I want to run, though. That's kind of the list. Whose story am I telling for this? Yeah.
Okay. So, let's go beyond the fringe. Do 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 do. Beyond the fringe. Jason.
Okay, I got to figure out what I'm going to do for that. I got
I
some
mean,
ideas though.
yeah, it could be good. Some good,
I've
weird
got some. Oh, I know I can use.
descriptions.
Okay,
Okay.
gonna run a harmonizer on there. Okay.
Oh, auto tune.
Do I have auto tune on here? Wait, which computer am I on? Sorry.
What do you have, dude?
Okay. So I wanted to apologize about my sound in the last episode. I normally record my mic off axis, but somehow like not aimed directly at the sound source at me. But I actually accidentally set it on axis, so I was like speaking into the mic like directly, and it was loud. All right, so I don't know. There's a couple of things I was thinking about. I was at that show in Lexington, this past week, and honestly, if are you really at a concert if there isn't laser lights and theatrical smoke? I mean,
Right.
and this is classical music I'm talking about. I'm not talking about rock or anything like that. This is anyway. And I realized that this area could easily turn into what fun garbage is Jason working with at work. And I could do that without a problem and probably without repeating stuff because we've been getting a lot of interesting, fun new toys in. So, but I don't want to do that. I want to do something that isn't hobby or sound. So my pick is a show on Netflix called Sexy Beasts.
That sounds.
Yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like
terrible.
Yeah. That sounds like that sounds like furry stuff.
It's a dating show where they're blind dates and they're dressed up. They have them dressed up in theatrical makeup, like as certain animals or mythical creatures. I mean, it's dumb. It's stupid. You're gonna feel like you're losing brain cells.
So
at
it's like a
some speed.
It's like dating game where you can't see the person. Basically, it's like
Pretty much
like a cross between dating game and Masked Singer.
Yeah. But it's okay if it's a great background noise for hobbying. And I will say that the makeups though are pretty impressive. They are impressive. I do like that. But yeah, it's dumb, just unbelievable. It's going to be funny if one of our listeners absolutely loves that show and then wants to kill me for for dissing this show. But I mean, it's amusing, it's entertainment, it's Netflix. What do you want?
Right. Yeah. No,
anyway,
hey, sometimes you need a dumb show to make you feel good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And I will say, watching that the other night while I was working on Magnus was amusing or not Magnus, but on the Siren was amusing at the very least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you? Do you have anything, or?
We just have some new users in Hammers on the Hudson.
All right.
And what else have we been doing? Well, we've been hiking, but there's just been so much going on here, man. Some illnesses in the family, and I've been hiking with Sonny, and he's been doing good. I love the fall. I don't like ticks. It's
Upstate New York in the fall is, man, I loved that time of the year.
Oh, it's so good.
Like, I don't know how you can stay in the house.
Oh, right?
Between, let's say, September 1st and
November 1st?
November 15th, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Those 2-ish months are just, amazing.
Yeah. November is probably pretty. Yeah, November is probably pretty in the south of New York. It's leaves are pretty much brown by November up here. Where I was today, at that elevation, the colors were totally on fire.
Nice.
Around here, around my house, most stuff is still like green, tinging to greenish yellow. Things are still turning here. But it's like some trees are just like, some trees give up like immediately. Like September comes and it's like red and gone. But other ones take a little bit. Yeah, they're like the geese. They're like, you traitorous sons of right. Like, I hate them.
Yeah.
Now, other than that, I bought a shovel for Sonny's poop. Pretty good.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. I could also murder someone with it if I needed to. Unfortunately, I would have to take it out of my backpack, take it out of its like little slipcase, unfold and the shovel's folded up, so I'd have to unfold the shovel and then
it's a trenching shovel.
Yeah, I have a bona fide Krieg shovel.
Yeah, that's cool.
Great. Yeah, I like it. So I got that in case Sonny poops on the trail. I can bury the poop.
Okay,
good times.
That works.
Good times.
Or if you need to poop, you can go ahead.
Or if that's not happened yet because I don't go on overnights, but it could happen.
It could happen.
It could happen. So that's really all I've been up to, dude. That and thinking. I covered the pool, but that's not fun to talk about. I've been thinking about going in the basement and doing all the basement stuff prior to winter, but I don't like to go down there. It's scary. It's like we have a murder basement. Like there could literally be bodies in our basement.
Because I knew that you had a basement, but I've never saw your basement.
No, because it's a murder basement. Like one of those things. You don't
want to murder me.
The first day we moved in, I went down there. Or no, when we looked at the house, I went down there, and there was there's one room where it had an empty chair with a bare light bulb hanging over it. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going back upstairs. I don't need to see what's down here anymore.
Well, I knew you had one. I didn't know how to. I don't know how you. I didn't know how you accessed it or anything. Okay.
So,
okay.
How you feeling otherwise? What else you been up to? You got some reading in? I got some reading in as well.
Yeah. I got like I said, I picked up Fury of Magnus while I was on the trip. I almost finished in the day I bought it because I spent the entire day in the airport or on airplanes, and I think I'd finished like 16 or 17 in the chapters. I think it was either 17 or 18. I don't remember. I did finally finish it because actually it's funny. I was like, I'm almost done. I'll save it for later. And I had like 3 pages left. That was funny. I will say that the afterword from Graham McNeil, because he's the one who's written most of the Thousand Sun stuff, is pretty close to perfect. Like that alone, if you just sat there and published the afterword, it would really kind of say a lot about the Thousand Suns, kind of encapsulate who they are, and his reasons for wanting to write about Magnus and the Thousand Suns are kind of the reasons that I like why I like them, why I find them fascinating. I don't want to drop any spoilers because I do it all the time, but let's try not to this time, Jason. There are some Horse Heresy character arcs that are most definitely wrapped in this book, which, for those of you who don't understand what that euphemism means they're dead. Yeah. I'm not going to say who. I'm not going to do any spoilers. There's some other backstories that are further fleshed out, and there are a lot of callbacks to previous novels from not only the Siege of Terra series, but also the Horus Heresy series. And without spoiling it, one of my favorite Horus Heresy characters makes an appearance. So that was kind of cool.
Nice. Nice.
And it's Graham McNeil, and he always has some subtle humor threaded throughout his novel. Like, every one of his novels has some sort of element of humor. It's not like slapstick, but sometimes it's kind of slapstick. And this one had some really amusing things in it that I kind of laughed at. So
cool.
Yeah, man. What about you? What were you reading on anyway? I don't remember.
I finished the last book in the Night Lords trilogy.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
I
yeah.
like instead of finishing it in the car, I was like, I gotta finish this book. So I drew a bath and I just listened to the end, last couple chapters,
Nice. Okay.
and I picked up House of Night and Chain by David Annandale, one of the new
Mhm.
Warhammer horror novels.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was going to be a Age of Sigmar, but it's 40K actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and it's really good. I really like it. I don't know what's going on. One thing I will note is I think with horror, a lot of the time, the fact that we completely understand the mythos of 40K, or we understand a lot about the mythos of 40K, then there's no mystery to it. It makes it
Hmm.
hard to um, surprise people.
Right.
But he's still doing a pretty good job of it in this novel, and I like it a lot. So that's the House of Night and Chain.
Yeah.
Um, I'm
Oh,
gonna.
there's one more book I forgot. Go
Oh,
ahead
go
though.
ahead.
Oh, I read Flesh and Steel from Guy Haley, which is part of the Warhammer Crime.
Oh, okay,
Or
cool.
um, our buddy Mark, who was with us on episode 173, 72, with his Magos, with his Admech, he'd mentioned it that I should go reading it because I should read it because it had the Zhao Arcad
Hmm.
Forge World in there. Really, really good book. Like I really enjoyed it. I'm not a like a true crime fan reader or whatever. But this one was really good. It's kind of a hard boiled detective, that takes place during the 40K, or takes place in the 40K universe. Um, yeah, I'm trying to drop any spoilers. I did like it. If you like that genre, it's really interesting reimagining of a detective story in the 40K universe.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I have heard good things about it, and I think a lot of
Hmm.
people really enjoy 40K universe stories, and
Hmm.
instead of just the Space Marine battles, I
Yeah.
think Space Marine battles are fine.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that, and a lot of them are a lot of fun. They do reveal a lot of stuff, but these horror and crime stories are exactly the kind of thing a lot of people have been asking for. So
Yeah.
why not? Right? It's good, and they've
And
been
they
pretty
work.
good. Yeah, they do work.
Yeah.
You can, yeah, and it's just a backdrop. It's just texture for
Yeah.
40K is just a texture for the story. Um, though I do appreciate it when the authors do try to not make it seem like this is a whatever kind of story with just like tact, like it could be any universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't I don't think you want that. I think you want it to weave in pretty seamlessly. So
Yeah.
one thing I decided I wanted to do, and talking to you reminded me to do it, is download um, the Dawn of Fire series,
Okay. Dawn of
which
Fire.
is the new mega series from Black Library for 40K. And I think it is,
Okay.
you know, I think it is going to be more of a like a battles style book series,
Okay.
but still, it's got a bunch of, from what I understand, there's reveals and revelations in them for what's
Hmm.
going on with Era and Dominus. So the first one is Avenging Sun by Guy Haley. I think
Okay.
that came out a while ago. Yeah,
Yeah, I do
12
too.
17 2020. But I downloaded
Yeah.
it. I'll read that after House of Night and Chain.
Okay.
So,
Let's go
and
check that out.
I'll report back on that
Okay.
when we read them up. So,
Book two is The Game of Bones
yeah,
from Andy Clark.
yep. And then there's a book
Okay.
3 out as well,
Was there?
or
Okay.
coming out. I'm not sure which, but Yeah, I guess it's a new mega series, and it's all era Indomitus, like modern era stuff, revealing a few things about what's been going on. So, this episode, we are So, I promised a while ago that we were going to do another Successor Chapter episode.
Yeah.
And I was racking my brain on what to pick. I decided to just go with a super arbitrary thing that connects these chapters together. They all have something in common, but none of it matters. It's it's chapters that have quartered paint schemes.
Yeah.
Now there's nothing else really about them that's similar except for that. But I just figured it would be a fun way to just randomly get some random Successor chapters down.
That's true.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the Brazen Claws, the Nova Marines, the Angels of Defiance, the Howling Griffins, and the Dark Suns. Now, I thought I might do the Sons of Malice, but we've already done an episode on the Sons of Malice, so they can kick sand. We will be right back. Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det er ikke bikkje, det er en slags ting. Den imiterer bikkje, men det er ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said.
Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things, there's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So, how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Aramon can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you to stop me.
I was wondering myself. Okay, go for it.
And we're back. So we're going to do a quick little chat before we get into the Brazen Claws. We're going to do a quick little chat about actually putting down quartered schemes.
Yeah.
At least on infantry, I don't really have a lot of experience with vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
There is a video, or there is a... when Contrast came out, Mind of Mangle had a article on the Warhammer community website. It's July 2nd, 2021. How to paint a Howling Griffins scheme with Contrast. which is a little different than I do it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's good to look at. There's a bunch of, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch out there on YouTube or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And with vehicles, I'm assuming masking is a must. You know,
Oh yeah. That would.
like I think you'd
Ooh,
have to
that'd be
actually,
rough.
I think you'd actually have to mask each quarter
Yeah.
first, like because the tape would go over into the other quarter, right? Unless you're really good at cutting right angles on your tape, and then you could do one color at a time instead of a quarter at a time.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to paint it and get all your gradients and everything, and then clear coat it,
Yeah.
pull off your tape, and do it again, which I've never been able to do without tearing the tape
Yeah.
that I'm
Pulling the
supposed to
paint off.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. And people
Maybe
who are
I'll.
better at that than I am.
Maybe I'll try that.
Like,
No, I'm not going to try that because I don't have time.
but
Yeah.
what I
Sorry.
might do is something similar to the way I do the Space Marines or
Yeah.
the infantry, sorry. And that's, on the vehicles. So, like, what I do on the infantry is, I mean, I just hand paint it and it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unless you're really trying to get perfect, I don't see why it's difficult. Because on a Space Marine, especially, you have things breaking up that
Right.
center line, for overlapping contrast, like visual interest reasons.
Mm-hmm.
What helps is getting the dark colors down first on both sides.
Right.
And then once you get the light color over it, you don't actually touch the line between the two colors with your lighter color. If you take my meaning, like there's always like some
Yeah.
of that dark color in the middle as kind of a line between the two of them.
Right.
So like if you were to look at it under a low power microscope, you would like that line between the two, you would see, say it's red and blue, you would
Mm-hmm.
see Flash gets red Evil Sun scarlet on the left,
Mm-hmm.
then Mephiston, a tiny sliver of Mephiston red,
Mm-hmm.
and then a tiny sliver of like dark blue,
Mm-hmm.
and then to the right of that is the whatever brighter blue you've chosen.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you're going through and
So
putting in
you would
layers.
have the light blue, dark red, light red. So there's a line of both darker colors going down the center,
Mm-hmm.
splitting up that line. And I think that having that there really helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So you only have to be you really only have to be super clean with that first line. After that,
Yeah.
you can kind of just go nuts with the lighter layers. And I think doing
Okay.
that with the vehicles might be a similar thing. Like you tape it off to do you lay down your base coat for one of your colors, whatever the color you want to do that with. So
Yeah.
maybe whatever's lighter. It's hard to say. It's hard to say depending on how fancy you're getting with your stupid airbrush. Like some people are like, "Well, lay down this red so I can paint yellow." Like, you do that. I mean, it's a great technique, but Jesus Christ, I don't have time for that. So, anyways, say you're doing blue and red, like quarter it off, like lay down the red first.
Yeah.
Just lay it down and then tape it off and paint on the blue. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
after that you can just kind of hand paint, because you have that dark on dark, that dark line as your guide. So after that you should be able to hand paint it,
Yeah.
I guess. Or if you hate yourself, you can get some really thin tape,
Uh-huh.
or
This sounds like what I would do.
No. If you hit yourself, you can actually mask off like 0.5 millimeter into the darker color. And then spray on your lighter color. So that there's a nice crisp half a millimeter line on either side of the line of the darker color. I'd rather die than do that, but okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. Yeah. Or you could go through and have that thin tape that actually goes down to your primer so that it actually has a black line if you use black primer. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
This is starting to hurt.
That's true. You could definitely do that.
Yeah.
I hate masking. I feel like I should have just spent all that time painting, but okay. That's kind of my opinion on masking. But I don't do a lot of airbrushing, so that's fine. And some people are just so good with the airbrush, they just set the pressure really low, and they're like, I just don't go over the line. Like,
yeah.
I will never have that level of skill with an airbrush ever. I'm too old.
Caleb had us doing the teeth on an orc model with the airbrush.
And to that, I say good for you.
I was able to do it. I don't want to ever do it again.
Right.
But, definitely it gave me the YOLO attitude about using, the airbrush. How I at times will do stuff that's like, well, this is a dumb idea, but guess what? I'm okay with it. Let's go.
There are only dumb ideas. So I've never been able to run an airbrush at that low pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Well, it
always gets clogged up, and I'm like, well, and the only way to fix that is either clean the clog or turn up the pressure so that it actually forces it through the clog. You know which one I choose.
I would hope that you'd go through and raise the pressure. And
like a
scream out YOLO or WOG.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I do. Anyways, that's my thoughts on quartered schemes. Mm-hmm. It's not very helpful, I think, but laying down those base coats really carefully first, and then YOLO with the highlights. That seems to be the case. If you're trying to touch your same tone highlight to the same tone highlight of the other color on that same line, I don't know. I don't think that's a good idea. And it doesn't even look good. I don't think, in my opinion. You'd have to, let me rephrase that. You'd have to try real hard to make that look good, to actually have the highlight colors touching each other on the model.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't think that would be a good idea, just because it would make those areas kind of over bright. Yeah.
So let's start with what?
I'm just thinking about it. Like, I should go through and do like maybe a Nova Marines, kill team, just because I do like their background and lore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're pretty fancy.
Yeah. And
blue on white would not be hard. Like, you do the blue and then contrast white over, or contrast blue over the white.
Yeah, that would actually,
because you can do all your shading ahead of time with that.
Yeah, if you went through and did everything white first, yeah.
And then just contrast over with the blue.
Okay, you're causing me problems here, Adam.
You just have to be careful, because that can get real runny. So you want those lines to be nice and crisp.
Yeah.
Ahead of time. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Brazen Claws. They have a blue and red quartered scheme. Mm-hmm. The Brazen Claws are a second founding progenitor of the Iron Hands, who are super nice people. Mm-hmm. Specifically hailing from the 34th company. So this is a part I couldn't find a citation on, because I don't own the Iron Hands Codex. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're from Clan Morrigal, which is definitely this company that the Red Talons came from.
Right.
But I assume since that company didn't see a lot of action, like they weren't wiped out practically to a man in the drop site massacre. They kind of they survived. So I can imagine that more than one chapter might have been made from that company.
I'm trying to remember. The Iron Hands is just one. That's one of those legions that, you know, they don't have a whole lot of. Well, they have some stuff, but they don't have as much as.
Well, nobody has as
some of
much
the
as
other.
the Ultramarines.
No, because the Smurfs have it all.
They have a lot of successors because their gene seed is really, really strong.
Yeah.
And
I feel like at some point we should do an Iron Hands episode because
that'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Because I've never understood the clan structure. To be perfectly honest, it's always been kind of.
It feels like a newish thing, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So,
all right, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's totally fine. I'm guessing that maybe it would make sense if they took the 34th Company and put all the crazy people into the Red Talons and all the less crazy people into the Brazen Claws. That seems like it makes sense.
Isn't that what you do with your Star Eagles? I mean, come on.
So the Iron Hands are a chapter who abhor the flesh. They think it's weak to be human. They seek to eschew all mortal frailties from themselves, partly because these emotions were the downfall of their gene sire. So they're kind of making up for the failings of Ferrus Manus.
Mm-hmm.
Not all successor chapters pattern themselves after their parent chapter. We've seen that many times, like the Dark Angels, Angels of Absolution, I think. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're better than the Dark Angels.
Well, the Mantis Warriors who are... Hold on. They're kind of a White Scar successor chapter, but they were someone in between White Scars and Mantis Warriors. They're not anything like the White Scars at all.
Oh, like some of them are mixtures, right?
I want to say it's like the Invaders, but that can't be right.
So some of them even fancy themselves the Antithesis. Like I said, the previously aforementioned Angels of Absolution. But most successors are echoes of their parent chapter. And the Brazen Claws are no exception to this one. So the 9th edition Space Marines Codex described the Brazen Claws as unyielding and remorseless, which fits the disposition of the Iron Hands pretty well. In addition, the Brazen Claws share their parent chapter's hatred of weakness, including the weakness of the flesh, and they seek to improve their Astartes' physiques with augmetic implants whenever and wherever possible. And they yearn for the day they can reach near perfection by being interred in a dreadnought sarcophagus. It's what they want with their lives. Like, after reading some of the stories with dreadnoughts, I'm like, are you sure that's what you want?
Yeah, that's a... I don't know, man. I don't know if that's really the target you want to go after, but okay. So the Brazen Claws have a storied history in the service of the Imperium. They are present in engagements with the Orcs during the War of the Beast, including an operation to hunt down an Orc Psyker, and at the second assault on Ultranor. They demonstrated their cunning in void combat when they survived a deadly ambush by traitors and Dark Mechanicum at the Hellforge, former Forge World of Sauron, which doesn't seem to have a permanent location in space.
Yeah. Apparently there's there's a Chaos Warband who can summon the Hellforge.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they know how to. I mean, I think you have to kill a whole bunch of people to do it, but yeah, they can summon. They can bring the Hellforge to whatever world they need to bring it to.
There's always a covered charge at the best bars.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. So, that's actually really a cool little nugget of lore, and also, an interesting thing you could.
Yeah, setting a campaign on Sauron would be great.
Yeah. All right. So it's this. Let me see. Survived a deadly ambush by traitors and Dark Mechanicum. This battle claimed the Sons of the Raven chapter. Wow. As well as entire regiments of Astra Militarum and Inquisitorial forces. At the Battle of Phalanx, a librarian led their forces against a demonic incursion, but his brain exploded, because that's what happens. And it was only thanks to a liberal application of Centurion Bolter Fire that the day was ultimately won.
Yeah.
Yeah, duct tape and Bolter Fire will
Yeah.
fix anything. So the Brazen Claws have also tussled with the Necron Dynasty, the Crimson King, which must have been like watching two Roombas fight over who gets to vacuum one particular section of the carpet. They did prevail, however. I love that. That was very good comedy writing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
I love that. That was a good one. Unfortunately, it is the Brazen Claws' struggle against the corrupting influence of the warp that has overshadowed any past accomplishments. They are a chapter which is in the process of falling. It does seem that the resolute willpower and pragmatic adherence to Iron Hand's dogma has stymied the chapter's moral erosion. Indeed, many of the chapter's allies would say that they have triumphed over it. Interesting.
Yeah. So here's what happened.
Okay.
So, first of all, the main sources of information about the Brazen Claws, which is true for a
Mhm.
lot of these Successor chapters, is in
Yeah.
two places. Either old Space Marine codexes or the Death Watch RPG, which
Yeah.
they really wanted, which were written by a lot of Black Library authors, so there's a lot of credibility to the lore in the Death Watch RPG.
Yeah.
They talk about how the Brazen Claws homeworld of Talus 4 was destroyed by what is assumed to be corn demons. They talk about bloodthirsty demonic entities. The details of this corruption are lost. It's easy to speculate that it might have been an inside job, especially considering how much of the chapter has fallen already. After this embarrassing and traumatic event, the Brazen Claws swore vengeance upon the ruinous powers and marched off into the Eye of Terror, which you can really only after a lot of your chapter is destroyed or falls, like that's really all you can do to save face in the Imperium, or else you're suspect after the fact. Other chapters have done this in the past to serve penance, like the Penitence Crusades, if you recall those.
Mantis Warriors.
Yep. But it wouldn't be very on brand for the Brazen Claws to admit their own sins, like their own weaknesses.
Yeah.
So it seems that the Brazen Claws actually thought they could make an impact on the forces of chaos within the Eye of Terror. So they went in there to kick butt. They think they can make a difference.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for them, the Eye of Terror made more of an impact on the chapter than the chapter made on the Eye of Terror. There are two very short stories about the Brazen Claws from Black Library from the old Advent calendar when we all paid $4 for a 1,000-word story. They're available.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
I remember those
one
days.
is about a tech marine of the Brazen Claws aboard one of their ships inside the Eye of Terror called the Cold Roads.
Yeah.
During the fighting aboard that vessel, the tech marine is beset by visions brought on by scrap code. The text doesn't make it clear whether the tech marine is deceived by chaos or simply corrupted by it, but he decides that it'd be best to disengage the Geller field, which I'm sure that's where the story ends. But I mean, I'm giving it away, but you're not missing much. The other story tells about the remaining 400 Space Marines of the chapter gathering at the mouth of the Eye of Terror, and their chapter master, Call Engenter, whatever. They finally call off the Crusade. They're like, we're done. We're going to go back to the Imperium. Maybe they'll let us in. Maybe they won't. Unfortunately for them, they are ambushed by two of the Brazen Claws lost companies, fully corrupted by chaos. Like their spaceships are giant, floating, human organs in space. So it's not great for them.
So basically, the authors are trying to see how can we do Lamenters without doing Lamenters.
Yeah.
What sort of horrible thing can we do to this chapter that's new and different, but still horrible? Okay.
Yeah.
So some of the Brazen Claws did escape, of course. Some of them had abandoned the Crusade of Vengeance a long time ago. Some of the more logical minds among the chapter had decided that 20 years in the Eye of Terror, getting their rears handed to them was quite enough. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The remainder were comprised of those able to flee from the ambush with their Skin, and Augmentants attacked. The survivors immediately set to defending the Cadian Gate against further Chaos incursion, and they engaged Abaddon's forces during the 13th Black Crusade. And it's fortunate for them that their deeds were noticed and reported by Uskar Creed himself. It's likely that they have him to thank for the fact that they had not only been not censured, but been provided with Primaris reinforcements.
Right.
Since then,
Creed spoke up for them during the 13th Black Crusade, so fortunately
cool.
they have some good deeds to report back.
Yeah. So since then, the Brazen Claws survivors and new recruits have been busy. They destroyed Tomb World, Shamnock, along with the Iron Hands, eliminating the Shamnock dynasty. Do you really eliminate, though, a Necron dynasty?
I think you could. I think it's a thing that's possible. But as well, all the dynasties are kind of like compartmentalized from each other.
That's true. Okay.
They don't talk to each other usually, except for what's his name? The big major domo Necron guy, and that's probably one of the things that he entices them with. Like, oh, well, I'll save all your backups if you
work with me.
If you work with me, I'll save your backups if you die. Where these guys, they're kind of just, if their backups are destroyed by some stupid space marines on their tomb world, they're gone. Yeah. They're lost forever. So yeah, I think that's a good plot point.
So this battle between Tomb World, Shamnock, and the Iron Hands, really one might imagine is that this battle was like watching two metronomes battling out over which timing is best. I love that line. I'm going to use that in my work. So thank you.
No problem. No problem.
Yeah. The Brazen Claws were also at Vigilus, helping to quarantine the Dontoria hive. This is probably a good task for them because they wouldn't dream of shedding a single tear over the purging of innocence. They also got to fight against the traitor marines of the Purge, who have a similar outlook on human life as the Brazen Claws.
Yeah, again, it's really bad. Like listening to like two cars with misfiring timing belts fighting over which timing is best. One major set piece of the era Indomitus is the invasion of the Stygia sector, as described in the 8th edition rulebook. It's one of those, every rulebook has war zones as they talk about. The Imperium was pulling out of that area in the face of the incursion of the Chaos Forces. They gave it up for dead. But of course the Iron Hands refused to give even an inch to Chaos, standing firm against the Night Lords on the world of Mordian. Now, the Night Lords might have maybe they picked that as like a challenge for them. Like they like instilling fear and pain in people. And this is the planet Mordian, man. I mean, these people are pretty rough shape already. The combined arm and also, the Iron Hands. That's a real challenge. For causing pain. So the Mordian Iron Guards stood firm, and along with them, and they were known as the Iron Crusade, which is weird because it was a garrison effort, but whatever. The bitter, entrenched fight against the Night Lords dragged on to a stalemate despite the fact that practically the entire chapter was present. That should have been warning bells for the Chaos Forces, but, no accounting for stupid. So blood was in the water, and traitor forces came from light years around to take part in the final destruction of the Iron Hands. Like, that's a good feather to have in your cap, right? If you actually manage to help wipe out one of the founding chapters. Which hasn't happened in a really long time.
That's been a long.
So the Night Lord's commander, Raptor Lord Arak Deathshriek, what a great name, ordered a full void assault to put an end to the campaign in one swift blow. So he sent in the spaceships and hopefully, command over over the space assets would give him final victory on the planet, right?
Mhm.
That's when the Iron Hand Successor Chapters, including the Brazen Claws, arrived. They beat back the disjointed and undisciplined Chaos Fleets. We've seen that before, right? They don't sing with one voice when they're together. I mean, maybe a little bit, and that's why Abaddon is so dangerous. He actually forces them to work together as one cohesive whole.
Right.
Same with Pirate Lord. What's his name?
Oh,
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, I know you're talking
That
about.
guy.
Yeah.
So they beat back those chaos forces in space, and then they proceeded to orbitally bombard the planet Mordian indiscriminately. But so here's the trick. It does sound like something Iron Hands and Iron Hand Successors would do. Let's just bomb everybody and everybody dies. Who cares?
Yeah.
All weak anyways. Well, what the Iron Hands had been doing was reinforcing all the cities that they felt deserved it
Mm-hmm.
in order. Like, oh, you deserve it the most, and then you deserve it. So they'd been fixing all their void shields and everything and boosting their power. So
Okay.
they had this stalemate going on the planet while repairing everything behind friendly lines. So in reality, the carpet bombing only destroyed chaos forces and also loyal forces that weren't worthy of being protected.
Got it.
So
That's pretty
no
brutal.
loss there. So one wonders if it's possible for the Brazen Claws and their other Iron Hands brothers to be smug about the fact that, like, when the Imperials showed up, like, they had pulled back. And now, as the Iron Hands are winning the party, they come back like, oh, hey, you guys want some reinforcements? Like, yeah, thanks for the reinforcement, jerks. And that's kind of an ongoing crusade that the 8th edition book says that's, like, still kind of going on.
Yeah. All right. So, rules for your Brazen Claws. So first of all, the Brazen Claws really don't believe in fighting fire with fire. However, their more common response to battling warp entities is massed bolter fire and heavy artillery. Even in the story Cold Roads, many Brazen Claws reacted to a wave of tainted water barreling down on them in the quarters of their vessel by shooting guns at it.
They literally sat there in their Terminator armor and shot guns at a wave of water. What do you expect? Now, maybe they thought it was like warp water, like a gelatinous cube or something. Like, still, they should know shooting arrows at a gelatinous cube does nothing. It has damage. It has damage resistance 10/. You need fire.
Yeah, these guys obviously didn't, D&D at any point.
No.
So they are methodical, pitiless, and remorseless foe. Another exemplar of a particular Space Marine trope. I probably need to go read Cold Roads just so I can have a good laugh at it.
Yeah, it's not great, but yeah, you go ahead and read that. It's in the. I think it's. You can find it.
I'll find it. The Iron Hands chapter tactics work perfectly for the Successor. They get a 6-up to ignore wounds, and also if a model has a degrading profile, the model's current wounds are treated as double for the purpose of that degraded profile.
Yeah, so if it's like I think a Land Raider has 18 wounds, right?
That sounds close.
Or something like that. So normally you would degrade at 9.
Yeah.
But an Iron Hands Land Raider doubles its wounds for purposes. So if it's at 9 wounds, it's treated as having 18.
Okay, so it's treated at full strength for quite a while. Okay, so you never really get to that last
not till the very, very end, which is really good, I think.
That's really good. Let's see. As such, it's hard not to suggest using the Inheritors the Primarch chapter tactics for the Brazen Claws. They may be prone to some terrible decision making, but they're not as hot-headed as their brothers in the Red Talons. Still, for specific campaigns, you may want to use the Warded tactic, which provides a 5-up To ignore mortal wounds and a preferred enemy, Heretic Astartes. Reroll 1s to hit. Yeah, that'd probably be a good one for
for like a specific
campaigns.
campaign you're going
Yeah.
against chaos. Give them that
Yeah.
instead to represent like when they're going against chaos, they might have different rules because they're kind of
Yeah.
a little crazier against Heretic Astartes, especially if it's their own buddies.
Yeah. I guess you could
Right.
go through and just, maybe
there's
this
no
group.
reason to do to not
Yeah.
tailor away. Who cares? In your Crusade games, I think it might be interesting for veterans to be veterans of that Eye of Terror campaign, like they were in the Eye of Terror, and I think it would be cool to start them off with Terminator honors, which is a battle trait, +1 attack, +1 leadership, but also the disgraced battle trait because they failed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a nice offset.
Yeah, and I think that the Even in Death I Still Serve requisition would be super popular with Brazen Claws characters. That's the one where they turn themselves into dreadnoughts.
Yeah. I mean, that's part of who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. So these guys are pretty cool. Again, it's a good way of showing a chapter that is extremely similar to their parent chapter, but just little tweaks here and there that you can make it your own.
Yeah.
Next, we have the Angels of Defiance, which is a black and bone quartered screen with green tabard, which it feels. So here's the thing about this black and bone scheme, right? I can imagine Belisarius Cawl sitting at his computer thinking, okay, so the Dark Angels have these special companies that are bone colored and black colored, the first and second companies, and everybody super respects those guys for some reason. What if I made a whole chapter of Primaris Space Marines that are both bone and black? They would be super respected by these dummies. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
And or the administratum. I think who makes these decisions? It was probably the administratum. I could definitely see the administratum doing the same thing. Like this idiotic logic that created this chapter. So, anyways, it's a Primaris chapter, Ultima Founding. With Dark Angels gene stock. The description in the 8th edition Dark Angels Codex is really short, and it just kind of sets you up to make your own chapter, kind of. It's one of those things where it's just a little nugget of information and you can expand on it if you want to. And it's one of those things where you can start looking for little tidbits as they filter in through the stories. What does it say? It talks about how the chapter espouses their Primarch's ability to fight through suffering. And they are a bright light of hope for those who despair, which is certainly the demeanor that the Dark Angels sometimes put forth. So I'm thinking of the Angels of Defiance almost as being a Primaris chapter that is espousing the ideals that the Dark Angels would like people to think they espouse. But all the Primaris Marines in the chapter actually think that this is their purpose as Dark Angels, not all the other terrible crap that the Dark Angels do. So I could see this as being a chapter where the Dark Angels point to they talking to the Inquisition, like, oh no, look at these guys. These are who we are. Talk to them. Yeah. They'll tell you what we're all about. And the Angels of Defiance are like, yeah, guys, we are the light in the darkness. We are champions of righteousness.
To quote Imperial Voxcast, we are the light in the darkness of the warp.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. I love the idea of that, and I would totally run with that. And it's hard to say whether the Angels of Defiance actually show as much deference as the other Dark Angel successors, because a lot of them report directly to the rock. Like they live on the rock, all their relics are on the rock. The Angels of Absolution don't.
Yeah.
The Angels of Absolution have their own home world, which actually has recently been messed up in War of Secrets by Phil Kelly.
Of
Don't
course.
worry about. Yeah, it's fine.
That's fine.
I like to
Nothing
think.
to see here.
Again, my headcanon is they have their own homeworld, and they've never been to the Rock ever. Or if they have been to the Rock, they've only been to like
top
imagine
level.
imagine a school during parent teacher night, like yeah, send all the parents to like just these 5 rooms. Don't let them go into the locker rooms or anything like that because it's a mess.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah, when you have company over and you just like shove all the trash into one bedroom and you lock the door and you're like, don't go in this room. Never go in this room. You go in this other room, and that's what it is. Like the Angels of Defiance show up and they're like, you can go into the dining hall. Ooh, or it's like that scene from Clue. Well, you can go to the ballroom or the where can we go? No, not the lounge, not the lounge. What's going on in there? It is much too shocking. So now the Angels of Defiance are the Oh My Sweet Summer Child chapter in my headcanon.
Actually, that sounds about right, to be honest. That there needs to be the poster boys, like for instance, what was it with the Black Dragons they had? What was it? They had the guys that later became a chaos band. But here are the people that show that we aren't tainted by anything.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, brother so-and-so's got spikes literally out of every joint.
Yeah. Yup. So for rules, I don't know. You can basically come up with whatever you want. And I think that's the whole idea for this kind of chapter where they just give you a little bit of clue.
Right.
But going based on my headcanon, the normal rules for Dark Angels provide them +1 to hit if they don't move, and they automatically pass combat attrition. So these guys are a little more Crusade-y in nature.
Right.
So I would give them +1 to hit with replace that with the Hungry for Battle, which gives them +1 to charge in advance. I would keep the auto pass combat attrition with the Indomitable chapter tactic. But Hungry for Battle isn't just good for assaulting. The +1 to assault is +1 to charge is kind of the standout in that one. But the +1 to advance is really good if you use like auto bolt rifles, which are assault 3. And there's a few other assault weapons in the Space Marines Codex that you might be able to take advantage of, even like on vehicles and stuff too. So getting that +1 inch movement is sometimes pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So that's an example of just like a little like blurb kind of successor chapter, and how you can let your imagination totally dick with whatever information that they've given you already.
Where's your head cannon going, and why are things exploding?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Why is my head cannon exploding? Well, you know what, the Dark Eldar used to have head cannons, the literal head cannons. They have gun hats. Guns on their hats. I don't remember. Anyways, next up is the Howling Griffins.
All right.
I put a link to Robin Crudis's Howling Griffins army. Go ahead and do you guys, and gals out there, if you want to go ahead and do a Google search for Robin Crudis's Howling Griffins, and he says he is like first and foremost a Howling Griffins player. They're his favorites.
I didn't know that.
They're really good. He does a good job on them. Very smooth colors. So it's yellow and red. They're very popular. They've been around for a really long time. You want to start us off, Jason?
Yeah, sorry, I was looking through Robin's stuff.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, really good stuff. All right, so let me see. By contrast, the Howling Griffins are a storied chapter with a long body of service dating back to the 33rd millennium and the 3rd edition Space Marines Codex. There was a lot going on in the galaxy at that time, with the Imperium in constant states of religious and political upheaval, along with the usual chaos and Xenos threats. The time was ripe for heroes to either make their mark or fall into obscurity. The Howling Griffins as a whole, and each individual Astartes of the chapter, were determined to be the latter. This became a bit of an obsession. Astartes of the Howling Griffins were determined to carve out their own destinies through the swearing of grand oaths of service to themselves, to the Imperium, and to their beneficiaries. A Howling Griffin who swears an oath of service will labor ceaselessly and unwaveringly until that oath is concluded. This extends to all levels of the organization. Squads, companies, and even the entire chapter engages in this noble practice. Even Howling Griffin librarians have special binding rituals that will geas them and their brothers to completion of their oaths of moment. Wow.
Right.
Okay.
I think in the Death Watch book, like the spell,
Mm-hmm.
like the psychic power actually gives you bonuses if you're working towards your oath.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, they spend
Yeah,
a lot of time writing out oaths of moment and stuff, which again is a Space Marine thing, but these guys take it to 11.
Yeah.
The oath.
Like, I read some of the what was it? There was a book called Honor the Chapter that had a whole bunch of Successor Chapters.
Yeah,
and I read through parts of it, and
Yeah.
it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that Honor the Chapter Death Watch book is really good. It's got all this information in it if you guys want to read it.
It also has the Blood Ravens in there.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So there are times now that the chapter's obsession with glory. Oh, you know what? They're kind of like Imperial Knight Space Marines. Can you imagine the an Imperial Knight house, like House Raven? No, Raven is a mechanic. Anyways, imagine like an Imperial Knight house and a Howling Griffins company fighting over who can swear the most oaths to each other. I can imagine like a combined arms force of Howling Griffins and Imperial Knights would be super sweet for a Crusade force, I think.
Yeah. Actually, that would be pretty cool.
There are times that the chapter's obsession with glory and fulfilling their oaths will force them into a situation that would cause them to make a decision that would break with the Codex Astartes.
Yeah.
So in these cases, it's likely that the Griffins will side with the oath rather than the Codex. But still, the commitment to the oath should not come at great cost to the chapter or your allies or the Imperium as a whole. So, like, if Bob swears to, like, Jenny from down the block that he's going to kill all the Tyranids on the planet and save her life, he's not expected to, sacrifice 100 battle brothers to get that done, right?
Yeah.
So there are degrees to this. So allowing a Space Marine the chance to fulfill a personal oath is seen as a special accommodation by the captain or whoever his superior is.
Yeah.
If the chapter sees an opportunity to fulfill one of their primary chapter-wide oaths, which we're going to talk about later, then they might move mountains and sacrifice great amount of material to accomplish it. So it really depends on how deep that enmity is. So, like their parent chapter, the Ultramarines, the Howling Griffins had no real specialization. They honored the Codex Astartes and used it and their diverse skill set to form one successful engagement to another. Though they do not follow the Codex religiously. We'll save that for the guys we're going to talk about next. They use the tenets of flexibility within the Codex to justify all manner of behavior on the battlefield. In matters where the Codex is silent. This extends even to the paint on their battle plate, which, according to the lore in the Death Watch RPG, they can have changed for various operations. For example, it would not be strange to see a squad of Howling Griffins painted black for night operations or green for jungle operations. Cowards!
Yeah, that's always been something I wondered about. All right, so their flexibility makes them.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Well, I mean,
another freaking garbage train is parked in my neighborhood, and it is so disgusting. I have to have the fan on and the window open, or I suffocate. But it literally smells like garbage in here because every once in a while they will have to stop a train with cars full of trash. I think from Canada going to New York
Like,
City.
on that train track that's
Behind my house,
a
yeah.
quarter of a mile from your house, maybe, if that
yeah,
far.
if that, yeah. It's just stopped.
Yeah.
And when
Gross.
the wind blows this way, it's just... There are people who live right next to that train track, too.
Ooh.
Can you imagine living there and just having hundreds of tons of literal steaming garbage in your backyard?
That'd be kind of a cool, narrative campaign idea, but
right? That is a good idea for a campaign, actually.
But
every once in a while, little
nerdlings
nerdlings drop out and raid your refrigerator.
Yeah, the cute little nerdlings. They're cute guys. They're sassy. All right, so where were we? Back to the Howling Griffins. All right, so their flexibility makes them keen to take on all comers and inspire long and glorious histories. Their success and subsequent incredibly rapid turnover rate has meant that the Administratum has allowed them to recruit from many different worlds, not just their carefully preserved feudal homeworld of Mencora. Among these worlds are populations which have impressed the Howling Griffins greatly. When a people show grit and determination at great cost themselves or in the face of maddening odds, the Griffins are known to swear oaths of protection over those people. One might argue that this is a dangerous precedent to set and double-edged sword for those who are to be protected. Although they are under the auspices of the mighty Howling Griffins, any enemy of the chapter could use the Protectorate as a way to manipulate the Howling Griffins. Yeah, starting up World War I again. Yeah. So despite their long history, it was the Arios Point Massacre in M38 that would define the Howling Griffins and their purpose. In a particularly inspired bit of lore writing and character naming, Chaos Lord Pericletor, the Forsworn.
Pericletor.
Okay. Along with his forces of Word Bearers and Night Lords, assailed Chapter Master Orlando Furioso. And
Orlando Furioso, Jason. His name is Orlando Furioso. That is awesome.
So is he a lounge singer?
Maybe.
That's someone who is a lounge singer who even will, play the piano and then lay on top of the piano while playing and singing. Mm-hmm. That's who that guy is. Mm-hmm. If we're going into headcanon. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, my headcanon is weird. Okay, cool. His Howling Griffins were... they assailed them while they were on their route to their chapter's 5,000th anniversary celebration. Hey! All right, so who wants to blow out those candles?
I know, right?
All aboard the first company battle barge were slain. Oh. And Chapter Master Furioso was crucified on his Thunderhawk in orbit. Wow.
Yeah, brutal.
Wow. Okay. Even to this day, every Howling Griffin initiate swears an oath to seek out and destroy the Demon Prince. I really don't want to say his name.
Pericletor.
Yeah, the Forsworn and the Word Bearers.
Yeah, they really hate the Word Bearers.
Obviously, I would. Yeah.
Even more so than other Ultramarines successor chapters. Interesting to note that
Not a lot of love there.
Orlando Furioso, translated Enraged Roland, is the name of an opera by Vivaldi. The story is a fantasy epic and centers around themes of chivalry and honor. And one might argue it is the great-great-great-great-grandparent of modern fantasy.
I don't think I've heard that opera, but Vivaldi was extremely proficient.
Oh, yeah, he's one of the big...
Not proficient, but that's what I'm looking for.
Popular?
Not proficient. Wrote a lot of... Prolific. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, it was really popular when it came out, and except dude, I was reading about this opera, and I'll tell you what, nerds on the internet were exactly the same before the internet. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah,
because
yeah,
the people who criticize this opera sound just like the jerkwads that criticize Black Library and Marvel and Star Wars and everything. Like, they literally sound the arguments are just as stupid. It's amazing.
See, there's as much opera done from the Baroque period
Your mom is
as
broke.
other periods, just because of the. Sorry, guys, you're getting my education. Um, because of the abundance of how should we put them, castrati, as vocalists for these operas, and so yeah, we don't do that practice anymore. That's kind of frowned upon.
Well,
And
I
so we
mean, you
still
know
have
what?
people who can
Here's the
sing that
thing. Here's
range.
the thing. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
If you want to sing falsetto, I can think of no better way to ensure you can continue to sing falsetto for your entire life.
that's true.
Other than actually hiring girls, and nobody wants to do that.
Well, you can always.
That was sarcasm.
Yeah, you can. Well, yeah. I mean, actually, that's sometimes what happens is
Yes.
you'll have women do the roles.
Yeah.
Or, and this is a opera that I saw. What was a one person opera? They use helium to.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. If anyone's interested, it's called LGA by Salvatore Martirano. For let me see. For Gas Masked Politico and something else. It's a really wild, crazy. Well, it's not really an opera, but it definitely could be. In fact, we're going to move on from there. Otherwise, I have to talk about one of the scenes in the accompanying video.
I mean, everybody wants to be more cultured, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so I'm bringing the culture to people.
Bringing the culture.
Right.
I mean, we can talk about the diva dance from Fifth Element if we want to.
Oh,
we can even really go into like just altering vocals. Anyways, what was I talking about? I was talking about
we were talking about the Vivaldi. Yeah, keep going.
So there have been a lot of engagements since this battle, and still against a variety of foes. They're not just solely obsessed with killing word bearers.
Mm-hmm. But they could be.
They could be. The Howling Griffins were also the ones who were near enough to answer the battle war call did the best they could, but they had just been on campaign, so they had no drop pods left. A lot of the ways they could get to onto planet were used up. So what they did was they contributed a lot of material to the battles. I mean, some of them still fought, obviously, but their big contribution was rearming and resupplying the loyalist forces there.
Yeah.
The reason they had so much, they're really well equipped. They have a awesome fortress monastery called the Proud Eyrie, which has a lot of production. They have a lot of STCs and stuff, like Mark 8 power armor, I think it said in the text.
Okay.
Which is really cool. And there's a picture of the Proud Eyrie in chapter approved chapter worlds or something like that, like Fortress World chapter, like Space Marine really cool. Chapter worlds. I could not find that book, but I did have a picture of the Eyrie, and it's really cool. They also took part in the war against Magnus at Fenris, the 13th Black Crusade, the Indomitus Crusade, the War of Beasts on Vigilus, and the Plague War.
Okay, so they've been out there and
they've been doing stuff. Yeah.
They've been doing stuff, keeping busy, staying out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So rules. As they are a codex chapter, it is not out of the question to simply use the Ultramarines chapter tactics in your battles. One might argue that the Howling Griffins' loose interpretation of the Codex Astartes tactics make their combat doctrine more malleable than their apparent chapter, and then be fair to say that switching up combat doctrines from game to game isn't entirely out of the question.
Yeah.
One thing is for certain, it is most appropriate to use the Space Marine secondary objective at the moment if you're using secondary objectives in your game.
So I wouldn't do like Iron Hands, which their 6-up feel no pain doesn't make sense for changing tactics. Really, it's like a more physical thing, but like the Raven Guard tactics would sometimes make sense.
Yeah,
because they can be sneaky and stuff. Yeah.
Or I can't remember the Imperial Fists. Imperial Fists, those sorts of tactics might work. If I remember.
So the Howling Griffins are cool. They're a good example, I think, of a successor chapter that's different from their parent chapter, but with strong echoes of their parent chapter. Not like super different, but with a, again, different but with echoes, which I think is cool. Another way to go with making your own successor chapters. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to say hi to Wendy, and then we're going to come back and talk about the Nova Marines.
Come here, boy. Get the ball. Come on, Max. Get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him his Zotabix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotabix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy. I'd better feed Max his Zotabix.
Yes, you had.
Zotabix is made in part from grade A
Max,
Astra Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins and
Max,
minerals
down.
harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert depths. Zotabix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Hey Archons, does 9th edition have you feeling like the Slith Party bus just doesn't have enough party for you? Well, if you want to put a little shock back into your shock brow, you need the Slith Party On! That's right, Archons, for 736 points you can take 3 Archons, 12 Slith, and a Tantalus. It's the Slith Party On! Now I know what you're thinking. Couldn't I take Drazar, 15 Incubi and a Tantalus, aka the Incubi Murder Boat, for 51 less points? Sure you could, but it wouldn't be the Slith Party On! But is it legal? Oh yeah! Is it awesome? Oh yeah! Is it any good on the table? No! It's the all-new Slith Party On. Sort of awesome. Party On! Really hilarious. Party On! It's the Slith Party On!
This is Rob Sanders, and you're listening to the Masters of the Forge, where the world of 40k comes to life on your tabletop.
All right, welcome back. Had to make sure I typed in the right time code there. So, up next, one of the Space Marine chapters I actually have really kind of like, and I'm really afraid I'm going to pull a trigger on painting these guys. The Nova Marines. So, we have a blue and white quartered. That's their color. Skin is tattooed with their achievements. Something really cool is that at the end of the third, or at least I think is cool, at the end of the third Dark Imperium novel, a Primaris Marine receives his first tattoo, which, if you've read any of the Nova Marine stories, that's, you know, they have to choose which achievements that they want to tattoo. There's a whole
it's all ritual
way they go through things, a ritual. In one of the books, I don't remember which one it is now, they have like tattoo servitors, you know, artisans in life that have, you know, they've at some point died, and so they turn them into servitors that do tattoos, which you know, it's a real way to show your slavishness to your art. But anyway,
well, no, I love that. And they Guy Haley, was it?
Yeah, Guy Haley's done some of their stuff.
I think he did the Dark Imperium novels, didn't he?
Oh yeah, because he did Death of Integrity, which they're in. So he did a couple of their short stories. So I guess this is his chapter, kind of.
And he described the servitor as like mechanical, like any other servitor. But when it started going into its art, it was almost like the servitor came back to life. And you know what I'm saying?
Did he say that in the Dark Imperium novel?
Yeah.
Okay, because he mentioned something like that in the I think it's in Death of Integrity.
Might have been,
which
yeah,
he wrote
because they feature in that. I don't think they're the main characters. I think I don't remember who is, but I think that they're in it.
Yeah.
Hey, I think it's the Blood Angels Successor that's the main characters of that one. But yeah, I think they're in it. I know
Death of Integrity?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who cares about them? It's the Blood Angels, whatever. That was it the No, it was the Blood Drinkers? I think that was that's it. Yeah, because there was a really disturbing way that
Blood Angels. Yeah.
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 Ugh.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah. The memories. Yeah.
All right, so let's get away from the Blood Angels and get right back to the Nova Marines. They are a well-known successor of the Ultramarines with a long history that is marked throughout the written lore since 3rd Ed. Tradition, they've been brought up quite a bit throughout the Death Watch series, various novels, and video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said recently, their characters were featured in the Dark Imperium novels by Guy Haley.
Guy Haley. You know what? Yeah. I'm not sure even like... I thought for sure the main character was a Nova Marine, but I guess I'm wrong. It was just maybe a secondary character. That's just it. These Space Marines, they tend to blend together.
Yeah, unless you go through and really talk about, you really talk about how they are a Nova Marine, or they are a Dark Angel, or they are...
Yeah, and this character was like... It was a point of view character in the beginning as a Gray Shield, and then... slowly, like the character arc is going from no-name Primaris Marine to accepted and honored member of the of the chapter, and that's his arc over the course of the 3 books. And I think that's why his character was so important.
Okay.
But a lot of the lore, a lot of the websites don't really talk about him, so it was important to mention it.
Yeah. Cool. I'll probably have to go through and read those novels and really kind of pay attention to that. So, as with many of these chapters, we have the Death Watch RPG to thank for the wealth of details available about the about the Nova Marines. I wanted to call them the Ultramarines, but about the Nova Marines. The Nova Marines were a second founding chapter, derived from the Ultramarines' 90th Nova Company. Their ancient fortress world of Honorum, which is a gift given to their first chapter master Corvo by Gilliman himself, lies the farthest northern reaches of Ultramar. As such, the Nova Marines have taken upon themselves to be the de facto gatekeepers of Ultramar. Honorarium's habitable regions are craggy mountains, the tops of which have been blasted flat to make space for shrines to the chapter's honored dead laid to rest. Also, they dig through those mountains, and they have like crypts and all sorts of stuff that are they're dedicated to them.
Yeah, they really make sure the dead make it home if they can.
Yes, that's true. I'm trying to remember, there was a Horus Heresy novel that has Corvo in it, and I can't remember which one. It was actually a really good one. A really interesting character.
Oh, good.
But it's been
3 weeks since
I read that.
So
yeah, no, oh god, no, bad Adam, bad.
Sorry. They are strict adherents to the Codex Astartes. Unlike the Howling Griffins, they don't really play fast and loose with the rules about remaining flexible for each encounter. Like they have their limits. So some things are sacrosanct and should not be thrown out the window to satisfy whatever whim a commander on the ground might have. Still, they boast a wealth of war gear and are well equipped for almost any task. They can build forces that are pre-made for whatever the galaxy throws at Ultramar. So it's easy to be super Codex compliant when you have the resources to be Codex compliant. I think that's the message here. Yeah. Being so remote, the entire companies can spend decades or even centuries away from home. But great care is taken to return brothers to the crypts of their fortress monastery on Honorum so their spirits can persist.
They do talk about companies being away for a while in one of the books about them.
And just in case anybody wants to read the history written on brother Dave's left butt cheek. right? Like,
yeah.
so like the Howling Griffins, the Nova Marines have a pretty full dance card these past millennia since their inception. They were present at the Battle of Thessala when Rebute Gilliman was mortally wounded by Fulgrim. They have taken part in the Xenocide of the chaos-worshipping Loch Crawl. They aided the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Blood Drinkers in the cleansing of the Death of Integrity Space Hulk, which you talked about, from Tyranid Infestation, recovering several priceless STCs.
Such a great book.
It's a good book.
Yeah. All right, so the Nova Marines have also met many traitors in battle, including an Alpha Legion Uprising and the traitors of the Badab War. Companies of the Nova Marines have been present during the 13th Black Crusade, the Indominus Crusade under Captain Tyvo Galliumnus, and the Plague Wars, which saw the death of Chapter Master Badram Dobro on the Star Fort Gallatin. They also assisted the Sable Swords in the defense of their homeworld Obsidia. Still, it is the Xenos that they were most specialized in fighting, and the Death Watch favors the Nova Marines' induction into their service. Yeah. Sable Swords. I remember that name.
we've heard that one before a couple times.
Yeah. All right, so one of the Nova Marines' most notable achievements doesn't even have any clear proof of its existence. They are instrumental in the defeat of the Pale Wasting and the Ghoul Stars on the very eastern fringe during the Nova Terra Integrinum during M34 to M36. As a reminder, the Nova Terra Integrinum, good, I got to say it twice, was a period in Imperial history when the Imperium was split into several warring factions, which began with a relatively simple territorial dispute. But blood was in the water and other sub-factions started to throw their weight around. Only the power of the ecclesiarchy and the faith of the vast majority of Imperial citizens stopped the anarchy in its tracks. Simultaneously, whatever threat posed by the Pale Wasting was squashed by the Nova Marines, though very little remains to explain what happened except talk of a plague and engines of destruction. If you'll recall, the Death Spectres have been assigned to keep an eye on the Ghoul Stars to ensure whatever threats still exist there stay there, at least until such time as resources can be devoted to pacifying the region.
So never.
This is something I've always been interested in, like what's happening in the Ghoul Stars and that. That's that was always something I'd like for them to explore.
It's a playground for players, right?
Right.
And I would also like to see more stories from there, but not too many questions answered.
Right, because you want to keep their mystery, their girlish charm and mystery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whatever threat posed by the enemies of the Imperium, the Nova Marines are not stingy with their support. Whatever ally calls for aid, the Nova Marines do not tend to lend their support with half measures. Instead, they arrive in force to crush whatever foolish threat would dare endanger the Imperium. As such, the Nova Marines are beloved across the Imperium, even by the likes of the Inquisition, particularly the Ordo Xenos.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, they are the haves. They have plenty of support, so they can lend support. And those who have continue to have and have more. The Nova Marines follow the Codex Astartes religiously. It wouldn't seem right not to simply use the Ultramarines chapter tactics, which is fall back and shoot and +1 leadership.
Okay. Yeah.
That is a good example of a Space Marine chapter. Although it has a long and storied history that has been developed over time, it is extremely true to its parent chapter.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right. Next up, we have the Dark Suns, which I, for whatever reason, thought was a Dark Angels when we first looked at it.
I mean,
but
if you look at it, yeah.
Well, the colors are, it's white and green, but it's like a blue-based white, not a yellow-based white. Quartered with their right kneecap depicting their company color. So
most of the time they show purple in these pictures because the original one was purple. I think 4th company, 8th company, whatever company. Anyways, it's whatever the chapter color or the company color is.
So the Dark Suns, though, are not Dark Angels. They are one of the many Ultramarine Successor Chapters. Interestingly, they are thought to have been direct descendants of the extremely successful Nova Marine Successor Chapter. Whether that is true or not, they and the Angels of Fury initially learned their combat doctrine and Space Marine traditions from the Nova Marines, which means they learned from the much of our knowledge of the Dark Suns is unfortunately also tied to the lore of the Dark Hunters. I've read that book, and their on-again, off-again crusade against the Punisher Traitor Warband. This can cause some confusion. The Dark Suns have only a few minor mentions throughout the lore, but they have served this distinction.
Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah, Dark Suns and Dark Hunters show up together at multiple occasions and just confuse everyone as to who did what. I can imagine a lot of the actual Imperial records are also very confusing. In universe, not just to people reading the lore. So the Dark Suns are not within the Protectorate of Ultramar, but they're in Segmentum Obscurus. So because of that, they are not as well equipped as the Nova Marines, but they're every bit their sons, if the rumors are to be believed. In some ways, the Dark Suns are equivalent to like the child of a much lauded individual. They know their heritage is storied, and they believe that alone makes them worthy of respect. You know, this would be problematic if they didn't have the goods to back it up.
Yeah,
so the one story that they talk about in one of these vignettes is that there's this honor duel between a Dark Suns captain and a Storm Warden captain who would over who gets to command all the Astartes during an assault in the Achilles Crusade. So even though the Dark Suns captain won the duel, so he won the right to take command.
Yeah.
In a move that he likely sprained his arm patting himself on the back over, he passed over command to the Storm Warden's captain anyways because of how well he'd fought the duel.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's only slightly passive aggressive.
Right?
Okay.
Can you imagine? Like, we're going to fight a duel. Like, all right, we'll fight a duel. Oh, I guess I lost. Like, you know what, bud? You take command anyways. I'm being magnanimous. No, you're being a dick. Anyways, although the Ultramarines tactics, rules-wise, are fine, it might be good to hook into just that one story. That story shouldn't define the entire chapter, but at the same time, since it's like the only story we have no choice but to define the chapter by it. I wonder how many stories are like that they like like some sub-faction, they told one story about it, and all of a sudden that becomes the zeitgeist for the entire freaking everybody in the sub-faction. Anyways, let's take that duel. Like, they're supposed to be really good duelists, so the Duelists chapter tactic gives models the ability to automatically wound on hit rolls of 6 in combat versus bikes and infantry. Because apparently you can't duel a battle wagon. Whatever. Pairing that with the Stoic trait for +1 leadership might be good in order to echo the Ultramarines ability.
You can't duel a battle wagon.
Yeah, how dare you? There's plenty of orcs on that battle wagon you can duel and stab.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, man, that's a good one, man.
I can't. What do you mean I can't duel a Helldrake? How dare you? So yeah, that's another example of a chapter that only has limited lore, like the Angels of whatever, but older. Like they've been just shows that they've been doing it for years, where they just create these tiny little sub factions for you to build your own army over. And that's really all it's about. It's about people telling their own stories and coming up with their own stuff and giving them little tidbits to help to start you off. And even if you don't use this chapter specifically, you can kind of use it as a basis for your own thing. So I like it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, definitely.
So we've finally done another Successors episode. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been, and there's so many Successors out there. We could do this ad nauseum, but it's good to just do them every once in a while. It can't be all Space Marines all the time, right? That's right.
So I was going to ask, like, what chapter do you think you would be most likely to do? But you've already said that. You're thinking that the Nova Marines.
Well, I I think that they're actually kind of interesting, but that's from the whole, honoring the dead and the kind of the tattooing and whatnot. I mean, it's not like Maori tattooing, which would be more like what would be happening with
like caricatures and stuff. Like
yeah.
the Spears the Emperor do that, I think.
Oh, the Caradon. Well, hold on. I don't know if the Caradon actually do it, but everyone who paints Caradon stuff
does it
for them.
Well, that Honor the Chapter book has Caradons in it, so we should probably do those guys someday. Yeah, just to learn about it. For my part, I do like the idea of the big dumb idiots in the Angels of Defiance. Just like playing them as big dumb idiots who don't know what's going on. That brings me joy just thinking about it. So I might do those guys.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and talk about what we're going to do next and close out the show.
This is David Annandale, and you're listening to Masters of the Forge, where they bring the world of Warhammer 40,000 to life on your tabletop.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Oh, we've reached level 6.
Jason, thank you for joining me one more time to talk about Warhammer. Yeah. And
always fun.
Next time, I know we have a few ideas out there that we want to do, and I would be cool with that. Like, we want to do an episode on the Hydra. I want to read that book. There's a couple books out. I want to listen to one of those books first. We might have Keith on for one of those. Yeah. The next one, I think the Black Templars should be a Altar of War, but I still have to edit the one I did with him last time, like in July. So I need to edit that and send that off. That's the thing that should be in my hobby progress. And so the next one, I think what I want to do with this campaign book coming out.
Yeah.
I think I want to look through the White Dwarf articles on the new Octarius.
Yeah, yeah.
And I want to do a show on Octarius. So
that'd be good, because that's a whole new area for us to explore,
Yeah, so
it's going to be interesting.
There's new rules and everything coming out. So why don't we try to, by the end of the month, by the end of October here, to get out an Octarius episode, and maybe we can get the info from at least one of those books and also the White Dwarfs. And I'm going to look for at least one audio book we can. I don't know if there are many set in Octarius, or if there are are any Octarius stories out there.
I don't think there's any out there.
Do you have the Inquisition rule book, the old one?
I'm
wondering if Cryptman is in there, like stories on Cryptman.
Remember. So I have the Agents of the Emperor book. I do have the Inquisition PDF that was released in February of 2016, I believe.
All right. Well, the guys and gals over in the Mofos can tell us. The folks in our Discord, go ahead and let us know if you know of any Octarius novels that we can listen to in the next couple weeks. And yeah, that's what I think I want to do. I want to maybe we can get some games in too. Maybe Tucker would be interested in playing our game in Octarius using the new rules. So
that'd be cool.
That would work out perfectly. We could kill 2 birds with 1 stone like we did last time.
Yep.
All right, cool. That's great.
I guess we're doing another hobby marathon.
Oh,
at the end of October.
At the end of October.
So come to our Discord server for some more information. I don't know if it's happening on the 30th or the 31st. I mean, I'm down. I don't care. I'll be there.
Our core group are each picking a movie to watch while we're hobbying. So
I think I chose Velocipaster.
Velocipaster? Nice.
Yeah,
I still have to
talk
to Wendy about doing this, but I think it should be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what my movie would be. I mean, there are some real bad... Oh, yeah, Meet the Feebles, I think I picked. I think I picked Meet the Feebles.
Oh, God, I think I've seen that.
Hey, Google, what streaming service carries Meet the Feebles?
Oh, wow.
According to TV Guide, you are able to stream Meet the Feebles for free on Tubi.
On Tubi. I don't even know what Tubi is. So I'll check that out. We'll see. But Meet the Feebles, that's going to be my pick. So get on our Discord if you want to join us for stupid nonsense. Just any time of the day, really. There's some good stuff going there. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge.
And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
If you'd like to engage with us directly, you can always join our Discord server.
To do so, or if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor,
contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/mastersoftheforge. Thanks.
The music used in this podcast was made by Parad of the duo Sublevel 3. The track is used with his permission. This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.